YouTube? It's Jessie Lee, and call me #BossLee, and I hope you love the video you're about to see. I'm pretty sure you will, because it's always content over here. I want to tell you about a couple other things, specifically one that you can also get some more value from, and all you need to do, and you can do it now, just pause this video, is go ahead and text YouTube to 844-277-9762. I'm going to be really upping the text game, and it's literally me texting you back. So if you want to have a more one-on-one conversation with me, enjoy the video, subscribe, comment below, and make sure you text YouTube again to 844-277-9762. So I want to talk about fear then, because not necessarily fear about the coronavirus or about any of this pandemic or whatever, but maybe more so even like fear for people when they're maybe considering starting a business or considering going all in on a business, or maybe taking leaps of faith around their business. What are your thoughts on fear in general?
Well, I mean, I think it's very difficult to get rid of fear. I think the key is to not get rid of it, but to use it. I think the key is to use fear, change what you fear. So for example, a lot of people fear what might happen if they do something, and I always try to fear what will happen if I don't. Mm. So like when someone said, you know, when you started Lightspeed, Brad, you quit your job. Weren't you afraid? And I said, yeah, I was afraid. And they said, well, then how did you get past the fear and do it? I said, I became afraid of what would happen if I didn't quit my job and try. See, so I just used fear. Fear is a powerful motivator. I think if more people understood that, they wouldn't try to get rid of fear. You see these signs that say no fear. I think it's impossible. As human beings, we are inherently designed in our DNA to have fear. Fear saves our life. You know, fear is what allows you to increase your adrenaline and, you know, fight off things that you normally couldn't fight off. You've heard of the old ladies picking up the cars.
Yeah, when someone falls on someone they love.
And so, yeah, you're never going to get rid of fear. So my only suggestion would be use it to your advantage. And most people say, well, how do you do that? Just whatever you want, whatever you think you should do that you're afraid of doing, figure out what would be worse than doing it, and fear that worse than you feared whatever you're afraid of.
I love that. So he said to fear what will happen if you don't do it. So you mentioned that you had the fear, of course, of quitting your job and then starting Lightspeed. What scares you now? What is your fear right now that's motivating you to do something new or innovative or pivoting a little bit or something like that?
Well, I mean, I'm not one to freak out and stress. I'm pretty laid back. I don't really, worry too much about things. But watching social media over the last week or two, you have to literally filter what goes into your head and what you allow into your mind. Because the other day, I was literally sitting there going, man, oh, this is terrible. Holy moly, what's going to happen? And I literally had to shake myself and say, Brad, what are you thinking? Number one, the media is owned by 90%, of the same people. In other words, all of the channels, 90% of the channels are owned by the same 4 companies. Those 4 companies that own the media, basically, can tell and it can say anything they want to say. There's no ramification for lying or sensationalizing anything. So remember, everything that you hear on the media is not necessarily true. Just because you saw it on the news does not make it true.
You know, it's interesting you say that. So I have a very large Italian business. And I think you might know where I'm going with this. So huge Italian team. They're incredible. They are in northern Italy. Which if you read the news, if you watch whatever, it's like you would think that Italy is like a war zone. Like it sounds like everybody's dying in Italy. And so every single day I'm messaging our Italians. I'm like, is everything okay? Is everything good? Because our media is saying that everybody's dying, everything's crazy. And they're like, yeah, our media is saying the same thing, but we're good. We're just staying home. And if we have to get groceries, we get groceries. That's it. And it's amazing because even people that you speak to that are clearly watching too much media, they're sharing that same side of the story. So it's amazing how people's perspective, I talk a lot about perspective, but people's perspectives are heavily reliant on things that might not actually be reality.
Well, again, there's a lot of theory out there. If you really want to blow your mind, I've been looking into one. It's the most far-fetched one I've heard in the million years, but man, would it be great if it was true. And it's ultimately, if you go to YouTube and look up the channel Fall Cabal, Fallcabal, and watch the 10 videos, they're about 15 minutes each. Dude, it literally breaks down what they say is going on. And man, if that's what's happening, woo, I'm excited. But it's so far-fetched, it causes what's called cognitive dissonance, which means it's so crazy that everyone just goes, oh, that can't be true. And so they just disregard it. But if you look at the evidence that those 10 videos give you, and you really look them up yourself, you start to realize, like, wow, man, even if nothing else, you wake up a little bit. And it's like interesting stuff. But, I've got a few friends in Italy, and they say, there are young people dying. It's not just old people. And what people don't understand about Italy and northern Italy specifically, for some reason, and it's not anything, I don't know the reason, but the common flu hits northern Italy harder than the rest of Italy and the rest of countries for some reason. I don't know. I think it may be in their culture. They kiss a lot. They kiss on both sides of the cheeks.
They do. So
they spread it faster. There's an older population there that smokes a lot. There's a lot of smoking in Italy. So who knows why? But I've heard from people in Italy, and they're like, dude, this is real. You better stay your ass home.
Yeah, they are staying home, but they don't know anybody who's passed away, and it's a very large team, so that is at least encouraging to me for sure.
Listen to this too. I've asked everybody I know, does anybody know somebody that has coronavirus? And I haven't had anyone that knows anyone with coronavirus.
I guess that goes back to perspective, right? Just and filtering what goes in your head, like you said, which I think that's for everything. That's not just coronavirus. I think that's for anything in general. Surrounding yourself with good people or negative anything, disempowering language, just filtering what's going on in your mind. I think whether we're talking coronavirus or anything else, I think that is such a cornerstone habit of successful people is they pay attention to who they're letting influence what they're talking about.